Yeah,
There's
to
one
make a
to 6
recommendation,
Yeah.
so that would not require
Who
a
told her that?
vote at
That's
all.
what I thought. But we might just want to do a hearing for the sake of doing it for the situation.
Just the agenda is probably on that podium, so you can sort of see when it'll come up.
Thing for the live stream, I have it recorded, but it's not live streaming because it's not connected to the.
Okay, that's fine. My phone's not connected to the internet either, so.
So I'll talk to
that
Josh
didn't-
tomorrow and see if we can.
That didn't connect last week either.
Yeah, and so I'll get a hold of Josh and
worries.
see if he can come and play it. But it is recorded, even if it's not.
Yeah.
And
As long as we're, yeah, as long as that one's working, that's the one I could mess it up.
I even charged
That one. Never again, you guys, right? Alright. Hello, everybody. I'm now calling to order the Select Board regular meeting for Wednesday, January 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We have a quorum present. Frank Del Duca is absent. We'll start the meeting as we always do, the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. The next section of the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public to address the board. If you would like to speak, just raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then state your name and the town you're from, and then you can go on with your comment. Is there any public comment today? Hearing none, I'll move on to 4 adjustments to the agenda. I have one adjustment to the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRS 4056A to discuss code enforcement officer position, and I'd like to put that in after warrants,
After what?
or after select board items, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thanks so much. Any discussion on this matter? All those in favor? Motion passes. Alright, next up is public hearing. This is for the liquor license renewal application for Frank New York Diner, doing business as Crossroads Diner, 24 Mayville Road. I'm now opening the public hearing. Is there any comment from the crowd? Hearing none, I will close this public hearing and move on to action on the minutes from January 3rd, 2024, regular select board meeting. I only had a couple comments and just wanted to, under department head reports, so 7C for Scott Sumner. The second sentence, it says multiple roads with multiple washouts, but only one major road was impassable for 3 days. Was that Kimball Hill or?
I don't know, as he said in his conversation, did this through this now, I can double check.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if we should add a road there, but it's not that important.
It
I can-
was Kimball Hill, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was the
Yeah.
And
only.
yeah, it said after that Kimball took the worst hit, we were the $1,000 to repair. But I can add Kimball Hill if you want.
Yeah, I just think it feels like,
Okay.
maybe just elaborate, in case there is like another problem with Kimball Hill one time.
Yeah.
And then, same thing for Mike Jodry.
Mhm.
The water rescue suits took a beating and need to be replaced. I don't remember him saying they needed to be replaced, but that there needed to be repairs on the fingers and I think
Okay.
knees, but I don't know if that needs to be replaced. I just would like to know for my own self that needs
Sure.
to be included in budget this year. And then, the last bit, the standby generator at the fire station may need to be addressed in the future. I don't know if we wanted to elaborate a little bit on that, like, I think he spoke regarding the age of the unit and how it's aging out. I think that's an important thing to add to that last sentence.
Okay, I'll go back and re-listen to those.
Yeah, thank you.
I think he was also having Dan Wheeler coming in to look at it too.
Okay.
Yes,
That's right.
I'm pretty sure it did say that that they didn't need to be replaced.
The standby generator?
No,
The suits.
The bear.
The suits.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the suits.
That's what I was thinking. I think he was saying that there was some wear on like the fingers and
No,
the
I
knee.
think it was.
No.
Was it?
More than that.
But I'll go
Yeah,
back.
you
Yes,
said-
but I
I'm pretty
have
sure he said
pictures
they
of
did.
all of it, and they do need to be replaced.
So fully replaced.
Yes,
Okay.
that's been submitted as part of the FEMA
Great.
replacement costs.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's all I had. Anybody else have anything?
I just had one on page 7, under M, to see if the board will vote to contribute ARPA funds to the Bethel project.
Okay.
Further down, it says Michelle Cole motion to contribute $10,000 to TOO, the ARPA
Okay.
funds. So I was just thinking,
Of the
replace
ARPA, should be of the ARPA funds or?
from the ARPA,
From,
excuse me, from the ARPA funds. I would make it more clear.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
I didn't catch it.
Alright. Any other changes for the minutes of the regular meeting? Alright, so I would motion that we approve the minutes with the added amendments.
One second.
All those in favor? Great. Okay. Next up, action on January 3rd, 2024 joint budget committee and select board meeting.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the select board and budget meeting on January 3rd.
Any discussion on this matter?
I'll second it.
Oh, that bit. Any discussion on this matter? All right, all those in favor? Super. All right, 7, department head reports. Toby wasn't with us this last week, so he's last meeting, so he's doing this meeting. Go right ahead, Toby.
Okay, so the chairman's asked me to come in and tell you about the storm. And what happened to it. And I'm just gonna go for, I had to file an incident report with DEP, so I'm just gonna go from what I told, I had to file it down. So this is just kind of a rundown of the actions that were taken during the storm and what we did. So 7 a.m. on the 18th, experiencing the heavy rains, so according to our wet weather plan, we ran around the plant, we closed every storm drain, closed off the reed beds and everything so they wouldn't drain to the headworks and create more flow for us. Of course, we was just monitoring conditions and flows, plant-wide, to about 10:30. 10:30, we started to experience the loss of solids over the effluent weir. So we started to curb the flows by raising the ditch weir periodically to try to slow the flows down. Right about then, we was reaching about 700 gallons in the week. Our high flow alarm goes off at 300 gallons a day. Once this started happening, we started to pump down the, what do I want to say it, the digester. It was kind of a holding tank for us, and we have to keep some material in it over the winter time to keep it from freezing up solid and usable. So we started pumping that down, transferring the contents of that over into the reed beds because that was more of what belongs in the reed beds. 11:30 to 4:30, we ended up raising the ditch weir to its max that I've been told it can be raised. And we started bleeding that influent into the digester. As we're pumping into the reed bed from the digester, we're still bleeding in to try to curb the flows more. we shut down like the ditch aerators and things like that to try to help keep solids in the ditch. 4:30, the digester in the reed bed number 3 is completely full, so we have nowhere else to store any influent or anything like that to try to help curb the flow, so we're just going with the flow then. Everything is full. Flood waters had come up into the plant far enough so that it was actually running into the reed beds 1 and 2. That's why we couldn't put anything in those. Then the contactors, where we disinfect and where effluent goes out, the river had completely backed up into those. 5 p.m., the clarifiers, the big domes out there, the outlets to them are completely submerged. And the flood water is actually above the top of the contactor tank. 5:30 p.m., the headworks of the basement and the headworks side of the flood. The power goes out. Emergency generator kicks in. We were good there, but we have our pump stations out and about that aren't powered. So at this time, we realized, hey, we can't drive out the normal entrance, so we tried to go out through a back gate. We can't make it out through there. So at that time, we decided to cut a hole through our fence leading into Brooks Brothers oil storage yard to get out through. I took my pickup out through, thinking we may have problems hauling the generator and everything out through there because things were soft. And luckily I did, because we got stuck with the truck and generator. I had to use my truck and stuff to pull it out. But we did get out and was managed to keep those things going as best we could. We got out, we took care of the pump stations. We come back from servicing the pump stations and grabbing some food wherever we could. And at 9, in the basement of the headworks is completely submerged. It was totally underwater. 10 feet of water in there. Flood water level in the plant is 8 inches from running inside the headworks building at that time, at 9 o'clock. I did the calculations, the basement was holding approximately 62,000 gallons. 11 p.m. we were cut off from Vernon Street Pump Station. We couldn't get to that any longer. Flood water was too deep. At midnight, the flood water is crested. Our influent pumps were actually keeping the influent from running out of the building. The water came to within 3 inches of actually running inside the building. From what I know about floodplain management and previous floods and stuff there, I figured that was about 10 inches above the 87 flood water line. And when I talked to CMP one of the times, they had a mark in the substation over there, and they said that coincided exactly with them. They figured it was about 10 inches above the 87 flood line. So then we rolled into December 19th, 1 a.m., the water started to recede. 3 a.m., you could see the top of the contactors, cement walls. 5 a.m., the influent pumps are making headway, the basement is draining. Started to clean sludge, river debris from the parking lot. 9 a.m., the influent flow is below the basement floor. Restarted all of our stock equipment. Started cleaning the headworks building down. As you can imagine, the basement was quite a mess. Could reach the Vernon Street pump stations. We had no sign of any overflow over there. 12:30 in the afternoon, water levels dropped enough so we could conduct our regular daily labs. Labs all came back in compliance. We weren't violating anymore. Started draining and cleaning the clarifiers, the contactors, everything we had was cleaning, needed cleaning. Continued to use the generator at the pump stations until the power come back on at approximately 6 p.m. on 12/20. Christian, me and Luke were there 36 hours straight. Christian was there another 7 hours beyond that straight. He was going on vacation, so he said, I might as well stay here and keep the pump stations going because we couldn't leave them. He was pumping them like every hour and a half or something like that. And so me and Luke went home and got a couple hours rest and then came back in and continued on. So we did have some sludge and stuff, of course, in the parking lot, on the grass ground, around the plant. So on the 22nd, we were able to scrape approximately 1 cubic yard of the sludge off the grass ground from inside the fence. We lime stabilized the affected area at a rate of 10 pounds per square foot to kill any pathogens. On the 26th, the water had receded enough, so actually there's an area outside the fence that we could lime stabilize. That's kind of how it went for us. It was a pretty rough time, really. Nobody else said they'd ever seen the water that high, or even thought about it being that high. I had come about 11 o'clock, it was 3 inches from going in that building. I had made up my mind that once the water started running in the building, I was shutting down the influent pumps. I wasn't going to take a chance of damaging these stupid, we're just pumping river.
Yeah.
And gonna sit back and see what happened, I guess. Talking to our regulator, Fred Gallant, DEP, our inspector, I said, so what do I do at that point? You know, what do we do at that point? Do we call you, tell you what we're doing, and he wouldn't answer me, rightly so, because he's not gonna tell me just to shut the doors and walk away. But he did say, we need to start thinking about what we can do to prevent it in the future, whether it be floodgates, berms, things of that nature, sealing manholes, things of that nature down there. I mean, all money down there. It's a pain, but
Toby,
that was his comments.
with the pipes under Route 2, last time Fred came and talked to us, he said that the major problem with that piping wasn't necessarily that things were seeping out, but that the river water was coming in. Would fixing that have helped the situation any?
Not the situation really much. I mean,
Because it was really the flooding.
It all, when you tighten up your plumbing, of course, you're gonna get less water in, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
In these heavy storms. And this last year, I mean, we've spent and used more chemicals on water, untreated, unpolluted water really, groundwater and infiltration, just because of the amount of rain that we've had and water we've had.
I have a really foolish question to ask. Why was that plant built on a flood zone?
It's the lowest point in town, and everything, gravity feeds there. We're certainly not the only plant that's built at the low, because it made sense. You don't want to run
close to the river. Yeah.
close to the river, yes,
And owned by the town.
but it's the lowest point, so you can use gravity because they are everything there, and it doesn't cost you millions of dollars in electricity. You only have just a few pumps to run.
And did you have damages that you had to put in to FEMA?
I submitted a complete list to Sharon of what was damaged. You know, everything in the basement, they had actually electrical, all that is explosion-proof materials. Nobody in their right mind will open that up and try to repair it. It has to be replaced, even to be, they just wouldn't, because it would have to be tested. It would probably cost you more than replacing.
That major electrical bid that you approved last week was a direct result of that. It was that $44,000 one. But he had major damage reports that we reported to FEMA from his report for his plan. And throughout the entire time that he started this, he kept in constant touch with me, updating me all the time as to what he was doing. And I mean, it was really quite a tiring time for all of them. And several of the events that took place were pretty scary, actually. So he did a fantastic job, and his crew.
Everyone owes you a debt of gratitude,
Yeah.
because I don't know what town would have done if we didn't have flushing toilets and no power and no water. I think they would have died. But yeah, thank you. And thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To Luke and Christian too.
One thing I do, I want to throw this one stat at you though. Between the 18th the morning of the 18th and the 19th, we pushed 1.1 million gallons of water through that plant. It's only rated for 340,000 gallons a day.
That's unreal.
That's just mind-boggling that.
Towns have been happening all the way along the river too, right, with other towns who were.
Oh, yeah, the other towns are a lot worse shape than what we were, yeah. Yeah, when I called my inspector, and
Yeah, indeed.
he said, "Have you got all your infrastructure?" I said, "Yes." You're good to go then.
My goodness. Well, yeah. I don't know. There's no way we could really thank you enough for putting, I know you hate this. I know this is your nightmare, but thank you.
Try to do our best.
Yeah.
On a good note, though, I gotta say it, yeah, maybe Sharon hasn't told you, maybe she plans on telling you tonight, but the other two young guys actually passed their grade 1 exams last week. So we have 3 certified operators.
That's amazing.
They got a lot of experience.
Yes, trial by fire.
It's on the job training.
Well, water, I guess.
Lots of water. All right, well, thank you, Toby.
Thank you and the whole crew.
Yes.
Town manager report. Sharon.
Okay. So, Trio Web training schedule is still on for January 23rd will be the training day, and the town office will be closed that day. February 14th, the town office will close at 3 p.m. so that we can run the reports to get ready for February 15th, when we will go live with using Trio Web. We sent out on the 9th of January 18 notices of foreclosures for property taxes with balances owed for 2022. An automatic foreclosure will take place on Tuesday, February 20th. Copies of the December financial reports are included in your packet, and I would like to congratulate Luke Angevine and Christian Brown for passing their main wastewater operator certification level 1 test on January 11th. And I will also send them each a letter to put in their personal file on that. Saturday, January 15th, during the storm, a car slid into the rear tire area of one of the town plow trucks. There were no personal injuries and no damage to the town truck. Scott notified me as soon as this happened, and we also filed the report with our insurance company. There was a lot of damage to the car's back end and the trunk area. Oxford County was called. They did file a report, which is what should happen in a case like this. Scott and his transfer station staff participated in the transfer station operator training class on January 16th. That was set up for them by Zoom here at the town office. Your packet includes information about the Spirit of America Award for you to review for the next select board meeting. Francis had received the award in 2023 and Arlen Jowdry in 2022. I have an item that will be on the February 7th meeting agenda for discussion and action on this if you are ready. We need to have a decision before town meeting, but all of that information is in the email on that. I've attached a letter from Hannaford Supermarkets in response to a letter Natalie Andrews, former town manager, had sent to them with interest in having Hannaford build a store in Bethel. I received that the 28th of December, I believe. Your packet includes information about the Planning Partnerships Program presented by Maine DOT Matthew Drost. He made a presentation at the September 6th Select Board meeting concerning the traffic congestion along the parkway during ski season after discussing his concern with Natalie and Loretta Powers. I will have an agenda item on the February 7th agenda for discussion and action on this. I gave you copies of Matthew's follow-up emails with me, and I have been in touch with Loretta, and I forwarded the information to her. She also sent it to Joelle, because both of them have been working on that, and they actually brought that to Natalie. And it talks about estimated costs and how much would need to be budgeted and all of that. So I wanted you all to have a chance to review all that before we talk about it at the next meeting. Review and discuss the draft town meeting calendar. I'll do that after I make my next comment. I received an email from Oxford County EMA today concerning the Oxford County Hazard Mitigation Plan update adoption. The email was also sent to Mike Jodry and Jessica Grover. I'll discuss this with both of them to see what they know about that information that, according to the email I got today, had been sent prior. And you can review the information that Oxford County sent today, and then we can all discuss it at the meeting next week. And I'll see when we talk if I can find any printouts. And this plan is online. It's a large document, so I'm going to try to print it in sections and put a copy of it together so that you can all have copies if I can't find them here. So what I always do at this time of the year is I put together a budget town meeting calendar, and it starts for everything that has to be done in the order it has to be done so that we don't miss any dates. And there's quite a few things. It's this document right here that I gave you. I have some things color-coded because they go together, but it starts off with my presenting this budget calendar tonight to you. And then Monday, January 29th through Friday, February 2nd, those are the dates that I have calendared to meet with all the department heads with concerning their budgets and their regular budgets and their capital budgets that they're responsible for. And I sent a calendar out with the dates, and they all have to get back to me and tell me what spot that they want to have their appointment with me with. And I've heard from 2 of them already. On Wednesday, February 7th, at our select board's meeting. This also includes all of our select board meetings on there. At that meeting, we will review and approve the rest of ORC's final ordinance draft. They have one for Philbrook Street. That has been approved. Jim did send a copy of that to the attorney, and he did sign off on that, so you'll have that for the next meeting, Jim. And then I'll have the final marijuana ordinance draft from the attorney, so I'll have that to you to review. On Monday, February 12th, I've scheduled for the Capital Improvements Committee to meet with the town manager to review the 5-year capital plan. Some of these dates may have to change. I booked Mondays in for budget meetings because it's the only free night that's available from other meetings. And then on Wednesday, February 21st, we have a selectmen's meeting, and the town clerk will have the final codification draft to present for review. Jessica will talk about that in a minute because we tried to get that for the 7th, but they can't have that for the 7th. So, and then on Friday, March 1st, the nomination papers will be available at the town clerk's office. Monday, March 4th, the town manager will present and review the budget to the budget committee and the select board, and review the process and everything else. That night, we would not be looking at individual budgets. It would just be to review it and understand it. And then on Tuesday, March 5th would be the primary at the American Legion from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I'm catching those typos as I'm reading.
I like the word primary. Sounds very, very exciting.
Wednesday, March 6th, is a select board's meeting, and that would be the final review and approval for all ordinances and the codification. So the idea is to have the codification changes, revisions to you a week prior to their approval. And the rest of, and Jim has some other ones too that he has to get to us. And I have one of these calendars for you too, Jim. The ORC is working on the LD 2003. That has to be completed and voted on because that is a new law change, July 1st. So that's really important. And then on Monday, March 11th, the town clerk will send an ad to the Bethel Citizen for a public hearing for April 1st. The ads will be in the paper on March 4th and March 21st. Monday, March 11th at 5 p.m. Everything is salmon colored, has to do with the town manager, select board, and budget committee meeting to review budgets. Thursday, March 14th would be the public hearing ad would be in the Bethel Citizen for the April 1st meeting. That would be our 14-day notice. And then Monday, March 18th at 5 p.m. is another budget meeting. And then Wednesday, the 20th of March, is a select board meeting at 6. Thursday, March 21st, public hearing ad at Bethel Citizen. That would be our 7-day notice ad. And then March 25th at 5 p.m. is the next budget committee select board town manager meeting. Now, I have several of those in salmon color on there. We may not need all of those. And I know last year you only had one budget meeting, but I think we'll have more than one this year. Because at the budget meetings, we'll be going through the different departments and the line items. And I always put more on in case there ends up being a snow day or something.
Yeah.
So just to have it plugged in there. Monday, April 1st, all town report information will be due to the town clerk. Monday, April 1st at 6 p.m. will be a public hearing for the LD 2003 ordinance. The site plan ordinance that the ORC is working on that has not come to you yet. The codifications that have not come yet. The memorial sign and the conservation education have both been approved by the Board of Selectmen, so those are okay. I have to change Philbrook's spelling on that one again. Philbrook's sign and the marijuana ordinance will come in February. And those all have to be ready for that public hearing. Wednesday, April 3rd at 6 p.m. is the select board's meeting. That will be when I give you the first draft of the town meeting warrant. April 12th, the nomination papers will be due back to the town clerk. Tuesday, the week of April 16th, following them coming back, the town clerk will send ballots to ES&S for printing. Wednesday, April 17th is another select board meeting, and at that meeting, you will approve the final town meeting warrant. Wednesday, May 1st at 6 p.m. is a select board meeting. Monday, May 6th, we will send all of the information to the town printer for the town report. Friday, May 10th, the absentee ballots will be available from the town clerk's office. They have to be available 30 days prior. Wednesday, May 15th at 6 p.m. will be a select board's meeting. Monday, May 20th through Friday, May 24th. That week, the printer will have the reports ready. Wednesday, May 29th will be the public hearing scheduled at Telstar for the SAD 44 budget. Monday, June 3rd, the town meeting warrant will be posted. It needs to be posted 7 days prior to the meeting. Tuesday, June 11th, elections will be held at the American Legion from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Wednesday, June 12th at 6 p.m., town meeting is scheduled to be at the Crescent Park School. So you can take a look at this and see if there's anything that you think needs to be added or you have questions about, and but that's what we're looking at right now, to keep on a schedule so that we don't miss anything that has to be done, and taking everything that has to be taken to town meeting, make sure we have all the public hearings, all the approvals and everything.
That's great, thank you, Sharon. My only question is the public hearing at Telstar for SAB 44, do we have a time on that?
He didn't mention when I talked to him, I'm assuming it would be in the evening, but I just got that from Mark Kenny because I called and talked with him regarding making sure that their nominations for school board and stuff lined up with ours and other things together. And he mentioned that they had set that on the 20th. He did say a time.
Awesome.
When he gets back to Jessica on that, I'll add the time. And they also give the ballots out there for the school board members, the nomination papers. So,
Or the able to answer for them.
yeah.
But
and
they give us the papers for them.
So
Okay.
Jessica will get those dates and we'll add those when Mark calls back on that.
And is this document going to be available for people on the website? A bridged version that's necessary?
Of what?
Of this, like the full schedule?
Once we
Once all
have
ballots.
it, once we add some of the other times and things that we need to add.
Sweet.
I think Sarah has her hand up.
Should, when will the nonprofit letters come back in and will we, what we talked about last time?
Contribution?
You sent out letters to the
Yes.
nonprofits, right? When are those coming back in
It's
and do?
Whatever
does that
we
need to be done?
talked about in February, they're due back to
February
me.
2nd.
Yeah, I think this is Friday.
And then, once I get all that information, I will compile that all in the budget book. Because the other thing I do too is I will have a budget binder with everything in it for all the budget committee members, the select board. And so those will all be presented to you the first meeting that we have.
And I just had a question on the, now it was lost. Okay, on the April 1st public hearings, the memorial sign, what is that?
That's to be able to not put
Yeah, leave stuff
signs
on it.
on
Yeah.
the fence and
Okay, now, okay, that's all.
And we'll print copies of all of those so that you have copies of all of those too, because those were approved a while ago, right?
It just a reminder that school last year, and I'm gonna get this backwards, but they wanted to schedule graduation
At the same time.
same time as town meeting or
As town meeting.
something.
They did
It was
last-
the middle school.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Middle school graduate, 8th grade graduation.
8th grade
Yeah.
graduation.
And really, other people weren't thrilled.
So they scheduled it the same date.
Yeah, so you could choose between being active in your community or watching your child graduate.
You know, they did the same thing home too.
Everything converges.
But I would hope that.
Have they done that this year?
Yeah.
That was
I
the
don't
first
know.
time
We
that
haven't
it
seen
had
it.
happened, or the first time anybody noticed, but.
Yeah,
Maybe if you send this to
Yeah,
them,
just
then we'll
remind
them. I mean, it's.
well, when you ask about the time for
I
the
think-
public hearing, you
I
can be like,
remember I thought you were at 6 o'clock.
Just like
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
save
I'll
those
ask
dates.
them.
So,
well, actually, their calendar should be already,
It's already published.
Already published,
Look
yeah.
on their- Look on their board.
so we could just make sure we don't
tab
have
section. That was the other thing too, is I don't think it will conflict. That was the only, they had board meetings on Monday evenings. A couple of years ago, that was a scheduling issue because we had at least one budget committee member who was on the school board. So, but I don't think we have that conflict now. It would just be, you can look at they have their schedule posted.
We were looking at Tuesdays, but there's so many committees that meet here on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Wednesdays don't work either, so
yeah,
there's absolutely
Yeah.
nothing on Mondays, so.
yeah. It makes sense.
Maybe you're just,
Or the tax meeting times could be something else.
okay.
And I just had one request as we go through this is perhaps the ordinance review list, if we had just the list a little bit ahead of time. And then also if we could have an update on the LD 2003 work, maybe at the next meeting or maybe on the second meeting in February. If I recall. Well, yeah.
We're really in the early stages, still trying to just gather and find out what other towns have done. The problem is most people have either taken,
The template.
yeah, they've taken the state template and just kind of like randomly thrown it in their ordinances and trying to find that and pull it and understand it is, and then finding one that's the same as us, that has a treatment plant but doesn't have zoning, is where our problem is.
Yeah,
That is the kerfuffle with that one.
Well, there is that, and it seems pretty simple on the surface, but I think it begs
Which
deeper conversations.
yeah,
Instead of just putting it before us and say, okay, read it, and then have to vote on it. I think there may be some deeper conversations that may need to come out of it, so
yeah.
the sooner we can start to learn a little about it, and if you need those conversations to happen, then we can schedule them in.
Anybody that's
Maybe we
not,
can workshop or something.
yeah, I mean, this is major. So anybody that can help on it. We've been pulling each week, but
I was reading through it today, and it's going to involve adding things to other parts of our ordinances too.
yeah,
It's not gonna just be LD 2003, it's gonna
Yeah, it's
have
gonna have
to be
to
included in
be-
other parts of our ordinances to cover that.
and other towns they don't list it as anything, and I think it was Oxford's threw it in there. They put it in
Careful.
something. I can't remember where.
Well, they've all done it different.
Yeah, everyone is different, and you can't just go to a town's site and look up their ordinance and say, okay, I'm gonna look for
Yeah, because it
house
depends.
zoning or LD, it doesn't come up that way. So you almost gotta just kinda like pick who's got what and almost read through their ordinances.
And what I can do is I can send you all of the information on exactly what it is, because I have that. And the other thing that some of the towns have done is they've asked their attorney to actually draft that particular ordinance that is specific for that town. So that might be something that maybe we can do, is get the attorney to draft it for you to review.
It might be a lot better in the long run. It's gonna cost us, but it's gonna be a lot easier than us going back and forth trying to figure it out and spending, I don't wanna spend 2 months trying to come up with something and then,
You don't have 2 months.
yeah.
You have the final, in order for us to stick with all this schedule for all of the ordinances that have to be voted on the warrant, that final draft has to be approved by this board on March 6th. And I don't think that your timeframe's gonna allow that without some help.
No, and we still gotta, when the marijuana comes, we still have to look at that.
That's-
Not with them?
What's
I
that?
thought they
Wait,
finished that, didn't they?
wait,
The attorney has done all of the drafts of the 9. What they're doing right now is they're all being combined into one. Years ago, when all of the marijuana first started, all the towns did separate ones to cover the separate categories.
There's a
And-
lot of variation. between
Right,
it.
and if you look at all of the ordinances now, there's 9 of them, and they're all redundant because they all say a lot of the same things. So like when they went through and did the revisions, the same revisions applied to all 9 of them. So what a lot of towns have done in the meantime, as the years have gone by, they've combined theirs all into one. And that's what she's working on right now, and I'll have that by the 7th. My intent is to bring that directly to the Board of Selectmen for review prior to approval at their final meeting, not to have the
More so you have to do with it.
ORC review it and then submit that because
It's already approved by the board.
it's right.
It does need a local look, though.
Well, they can look at it.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
whether it's them or us, I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately we'll look at it.
But that makes sense, and that's what happened 2 years ago when we wanted to change one thing and miss throughout the other 8 of them, and it's a disaster.
and that's why they've done all of the separate ones. Now they're gonna combine it all into one. When I get that back, I can send that to you so that you can review that with your committee. And then, because I have that on here, you would be given it at the meeting before you actually approve it. I wouldn't give it to you the night that I wanted it approved, because those things, I think they need to go to be reviewed and then come back. So like 2 readings.
Going back to LD, 2003,
Yes.
2003, I wonder if it would be beneficial, I don't know where you guys are at in the codification process, how much workload you have left, but it might be cool to just isolate the places that LD would affect, like if it affects facts of finding, just like a list of like what we need to address. Well, I mean, I'm just throwing that out as an example. Like, it just isolate the places in which LD 23 will affect the code. Yeah, so we're not just, so we'll have like the actual document, but then we'll also have like, okay, during the codification process, we've isolated these specific places that are going to be affected by this new legislation.
Well, I'll probably have that for our meeting next Tuesday.
Oh, you're doing,
It might be generated from.
if it's generated from you guys, then even better, but
Yeah.
I just figured you're staring at the whole code book.
We are, we're keeping it truly as a review, administrative updating, where we're being very careful not to bring in any content changes.
Sure.
Those are separate, content changes will be separate. So we're keeping very focused on.
Spelling and grammar.
Well, is it meeting state statute? Do we need it to meet
Yeah.
state statute?
Yeah.
And is there any conflicting one part to the other part?
Right.
So
I guess that was,
So you're saying we, and I don't know what you're talking about.
she's talking about codification because she.
Oh,
we're talking about codification of what you'll get on one of those days there.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when you look at it, you'll know that there's no intent for content change.
Right.
Like the ORC is working on, like you guys are working on.
So,
It's,
well, that, yeah, I wasn't saying, for you,
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that you'd have any input on the actual content of those changes, just isolating
just
where.
to locate.
Yeah, just
where's
location,
that. But it
and then
sounds
they'd
like-
look at it and draft it, but if they're already
Sounds like they're
isolating it.
working on
so if I understand it correct, you're just finding things like spelling, highlighting them, and then we gotta fix those and send it out.
Codification, you don't have to do
We
that
don't
process.
have to do that?
But codification, if there's any changes to the code, does need to go to
Right.
the town
But-
meeting. Well, what it is that there was a whole project and program that was approved by the voters
Mhm.
2 years ago now to go through codification, which was the original intent of an ORC, to annually review our code and say, if you're gonna change, select man to select person, then you change all of that. Are you gonna have a police chief or are you gonna have law enforcement? Does this law, does this statute still meet, our code refers to some statutes, is that still the same statute name? No, it's not, it's called this. So it's those types of things that has been identified by a company that it specializes in this. And they look at it from a legal perspective, if you internally have conflict with some of your codes. So they look at that from that whole perspective. And so they had identified, I'm probably stealing some of Jess's thing, 140 questions that they wanted to be reviewed. And so we're just about all of them, and we'll have those recommendations for the select board to review.
So my question, because the way I understood it, when anything is changed in the book in spelling, that has to go for approval. Does that still have to go through approval with,
Town meeting, yes.
no, the
Public hearing?
Quantification.
quantification?
Codification.
Codification, yeah.
So if we're just fixing spelling, for instance, or changing from selectmen to select board, that still doesn't that still have to go through the normal process?
So we have to do 147 of them at the town meeting?
You will be presented,
It's gonna come
there are
in
two
one by
versions
article.
that the code review company is going to present. The first one, which will come before you, is the basic changes and the things that Michelle and I and Sharon have worked on. And they'll present it, strike-throughs and red lines and different things. And that would be for the select board, just like you do with the ORC that comes before you to move to a public hearing. And then if there are any changes or issues that you discover in reviewing of that, there's still a time frame between that and then it would come before, the final vote of the board and then moving on to the public hearing. So it's a very similar process. It's just the code review company is going to present in a very nice,
Just make
laid out
life
fashion
easier
of
for us.
everything
Yeah,
that they've gone through, because the editor we've been working with went through the whole thing, and as Michelle indicated, came back with, these are, there's certain things that were brought up to speed with ordinance or code changes, law changes or things, questions that they had, those were given back to us, and we've been working our way through them. If they had any questions, or they weren't sure if we wanted to make a change or different things, so we've been working through that. And we are fairly close to the end on that process. And I talked to the editor when Sharon was putting the schedule together, indicating if we wanted to have everything so we could vote on it with this town meeting, backing up when they would have to have our decisions in order to be able to get all of this to us. And so these were the dates that she gave us as far as making sure that we could get the code to the select board and then to the public hearing in plenty of time for the town meeting.
Okay, so my question is, how are we presenting this to the public to vote on?
They will present a packet of the codes that will have all the changes and strikeouts and all of that they can review, just like you will. I mean, it's not gonna be a small thing.
I know, but is it going to be that they have to vote on each individual?
No, it won't be
No,
a
it's the codification warrant.
Okay.
Yeah.
It will be as a group, but they will be able to see all the changes, but the vote will be a single vote.
That's when I heard 100.
That's why Sharon wanted to make sure you got the select board got the information, once Michelle and I and Sharon were done with enough time, because you will have it if there are any questions or concerns at this level, before it goes to the public.
and there will be a printout of everything they give us that will be posted with the warrant, because the warrant's not gonna list all of these changes on. It'll be a general
That was my
question. Warrant article, and then, but you have to post all of the changes attached to the warrant when you post the warrant.
Yeah.
And they
those
do
will be
this, so
made
they have
available.
all of that. She was very, she's like, yep, you're gonna have this, this, and this, and she's very good.
Sweet.
Can they write LD?
They don't write, they just review, I think.
So,
AdCog might be another resource. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they're still active in that or not.
I can check with them.
we tried to look up some stuff on the MMA too, and
That's true.
didn't get us any
No, I've already looked at that, yeah.
calling.
An MMA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Is it worth looking at the possibility to have a lawyer do it?
I can send, actually, I'll send him an email tonight, because he actually, both he and Mary, they answer emails late at night too, when I send them. And sometimes they write them late at night, so I know they're up. I can ask if they can draft one for us to look at and how quickly they can do it.
I think that'd be beneficial.
And when's your next meeting?
Next
Tuesday.
Okay.
How over budget are we with the consulting?
On the code?
No, in the budget for this fiscal year, are we over for consulting services? As far as lawyers, like having our lawyer, we're not over? Oh my gosh. I'm just shocked by that.
One of the
I got the
things,
bill from the other night.
one of the things I just finished doing is July through December's complete detail printout. I've gone through that entirely, so I know exactly where we are on everything there. And when I start my budget process, that's what I have, is those 6 months that I work with. And then at the end of January, I'll print out the January complete detail, so I know where we are there. There will be some lines that, line items that will be over budget, but the bottom lines are not, and that's the thing to be concerned with.
Yeah.
There are a lot of amounts in various budgets that are never going to be used for different reasons. They were put there and shouldn't have been put there. So I will be working with the auditor to be able to reappropriate those funds to other accounts
Great.
that may be overdraft rather than raising money to offset
Yay, Sharon.
anything that is over budget.
Thank you. All right.
I am.
All right. There are no board committee reports. Business items, action on the renewal liquor license for Frank's New York Diner doing business at Crossroads 24 Mayville Road.
Make a motion we approve the application for renewal of liquor license for Frank's Diner DBA Crossroads.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I just wait, the signature, does that not happen till later, the signature of the applicant?
Is it a,
What page?
there's 2 copies of the.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe,
5.
yeah, page 5 of 11.
Good point.
Sorry.
Sarah. No, great, excellent point.
Yeah, no, you did not sign either one.
And
I
I
must have been in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I also had a question if they, on the description of the area where they want it to be licensed, do they serve alcohol on their porch in the summer? Okay. Should that get added into that?
I thought it was on there.
Well, it may have been in the, I don't know. if
Oh,
it's in
you're
the
right.
drawing,
No,
but-
you're right, there's no, well,
Yeah, there's no seat.
does the patio, is the patio always open?
In the good weather.
Or was it only
Only in
during
the good
COVID?
weather.
Okay, it is.
That's what I was thinking, because I know that the town allowed people to move a certain number of seats outside, but then after COVID, it would go.
I don't know, I haven't been there.
It's only in the winter, I mean, in summer that they have the seating out there that I know of, that I've
But
ever
they
seen.
told- they
Either
do.
way, he'd want to extend his license to be out there, otherwise someone couldn't like have a, like a mimosa out on the porch. How are you supposed to eat pancakes without a mimosa? Chaos.
So when he comes back, just meet with him, and he can sign it.
And also answer the question.
And he's gonna add
Patio.
the seating outside.
So we'll talk about the
If he does.
outdoor seating. What'd you say?
If he indeed does serve it outside.
Yeah.
I can
Right,
confirm
yeah.
that if he does, we can.
I can confirm that he does. When he does have seating. Cool.
So are we gonna
Great
make,
catches, Sarah.
are we gonna make a motion to add that, what you just said?
Sure.
Okay, do that.
Who made the,
I made the
you made the
motion.
first motion, so you have to,
Amend it to
Yeah.
add that he needs to sign the paperwork and add the outside seating if it is, being used
applicable.
for alcohol serving.
Alright.
And then I said,
You have to amend your second.
and then I said, is that all I have to say?
Yeah. Any other discussion on this application? All those in favor? Great. Next, action on the application from Jim Bennett to be appointed as the at-large position to the Capital Improvement Committee. Plan Committee. You have to make a motion first.
Oh, sorry. I make a motion that we take action on the application from Jim Bennett to be appointed as an at-large position to this capital improvement committee.
Second.
Any discussion on this one?
So is it really just one member on
No.
that committee?
So it's
One at large.
it's one at large, and then it would be the chair and the vice chair.
Of the town, and the town manager, chair and vice chair of the budget committee and the select board.
All those in favor? Great. And then last but not least, for business items, we have 10C, action on the application for a license for an incorporated civic organization, Maine Ski and Snowboard Museum at Carter's Cross Country, 786 Intervale Road on January 21st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion on this application?
You're just serving beer?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does sound like fun. And it's the wooden
You can
ski
also
thing.
get to watch me on 12-foot long cross-country skis.
I saw that. That's horrible.
Pretty good, actually. We have snow that's not like frozen ice this year, so that's amazing.
All those in favor? Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, that snow isn't up right now, we don't know by the 21st what you're gonna get. Okay.
You're not allowed to talk like that,
Fair
Patty.
warning.
All right, so 11A, action on accounts payable warrant.
No,
What?
No.
You have a new digit.
oh,
Oh. Never mind. I didn't have that agenda.
Yeah,
Okay, so 10D, action to give the town manager the authority to hire Benjamin McCall from law firm of Jensen and Beard from Portland to represent the appeals board if needed for the possible appeal from the planning board decision. Go on.
so according to the code, the select board authorize hiring legal. And we are expecting to get an appeal from Tony Donovan from the residents' application that was denied at the planning board. And Attorney Katsidikas cannot also be the attorney for the appeals board. He was the attorney for the planning board. So he recommended Benjamin McCall, who specializes in this area. He actually is on an appeals board in Portland, where he serves there, where he lives. And he's recommended him, so we would like to get him on board and hired prior to, so that he can, as soon as we get the appeal from the residents, that we can get him hired. So that's why I'm asking you to give me the authority to hire him. I can say that the Jansen Beard Law Firm is an excellent law firm. And they're very qualified. They have individuals who specialize in specific things.
What was the nature of the denial? Was it the height restriction?
No, it was because, you're asking why it was denied?
Yeah.
The building does meet the 35 foot,
Mhm.
but they have three stories, and then the code says 2.5 stories. So I was at the meeting and I requested that they put in, or I suggested that they put in a request to take out the 2.5 stories out of the ordinance, and just leave it at 35 feet.
Yeah, because I thought we cleaned this up the last
No,
time around.
what happened last time was it said 35 feet or
Yeah.
2.5 stories. Now it says 35 feet under A and
Or
2.5 stories under B.
Yeah.
So there's no, in my opinion, there's no
Yes.
need for the 2.5 stories.
And if for some reason 2.5 stories stays in a definition of a half story, I
Yeah.
would say would be incumbent upon us to have it.
Agreed.
That came up in extensive conversation from him, and it basically came back with what the dictionary says, because MMA doesn't give a definition, the state doesn't give a definition.
Well, no, I thought the MMA said it could be a basement, a cellar, or an attic.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't
It's just livable space.
It didn't come right out and say a half story is.
This height.
But if it's
Yeah.
35, if it's 35 feet, it's 35 feet.
So I would make a motion to give the town manager the authority to hire Benjamin McCall from the law firm Jensen Beard in Portland to represent the appeals board if needed.
Second,
Any other discussion?
So it has to go to appeals, not like if we change the ordinance,
No,
it
yeah,
would still.
they get denied and they're appealing it. yeah.
I think it would be
They didn't want to wait
foolish
to
to
see
change
if
the
it would
ordinance.
get passed through the town meeting.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, by an ordinance change you're talking about?
The ordinance to take out the 2.5 stories out of
Oh,
the ordinance. And they were not willing to do that, to wait that time.
Yeah,
Because there's no
guarantee that it'll pass.
because the town is the one that put it at 2.5. And said we don't want a North Conway, we don't want,
well, it's actually
So-
the ladder truck is the issue. correct?
no,
No.
Really?
our truck's got nothing to do with it.
Okay, cool. I just remember Jodry not having that be the issue, the height, or the 35 feet is the ladder truck issue. Got it. Okay, anyways, did we vote on that?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Sorry. Now we're in warrants. So we have action on accounts payable warrant 2024-28 in the amount of $565,690.17.
so moved.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? 11B, action on accounts payable warrant 2024-29 in the amount of $168,609.86.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
What's with the Alpine ski bus?
That is for the rec program, and that's all being paid for from donations.
And I'm sorry, it's for the what? program?
Rec department.
The rec department
Okay.
for their ski program.
Okay,
But we approved that donation last meeting,
Yes.
which was like $75.
And it's paid forward, it looks like.
Actually, it is paid for, so the 75 that was received, that you approved last meeting, that is for next season. Last season, you received the 7,500 for this season.
Is that the cost per trip or for a certain amount of weeks?
Per trip. What is the amount?
It's about
$1,195.
From school, from Telstar to not even.
1,100? Yes, that's one trip,
From Telstar to Mount Ingram,
yes.
Really? Do they
and a lot of
only,
business.
do they really only go like 7 times total or?
It goes 7 times total.
Wow,
That's.
a lot of money.
It's not, did you say 11,000?
No,
1,100.
1,100,
It's
yes.
just like
Yeah,
less
It's like,
than 10
it's
miles.
like 12, yeah, it's like $1,200.
It's a chartered bus.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
What can they use?
Get back to
They raise the
where
money.
they belong.
The money that is donated is specific for that transportation purpose.
And you're being charged for mileage from wherever they come from to here,
Right.
plus back from here to where they came from.
It's probably VFD, or that
It's,
subsidy,
no, it's North,
Northeast Charter.
I think it's Northeast
A
Charter.
subsidy of VIP.
It is Northeast Charter, yeah. And they're out of Boston, right?
Portland.
What?
Alright.
Subsidy of VIP.
Oh, okay.
So next up is,
I just had one.
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I notice cell phone reimbursements for October through December. And intuitively, it all makes sense, but I was just wondering what the cell phone reimbursement policy was.
So the employees who have cell phones, they use their own cell phone. They're not town-assigned cell phones. And they are reimbursed at the end of every quarter, $30 per month. So each of them, at the end of a quarter, it's $90, because it covers a $30 reimbursement per month. And there are several employees, as you can see, who have the use of their cell phone that the town contributes $30 to.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this? Lauren?
We're on 28 still, right? Or the
29.
29. There's one, okay. What's the MV report? Just for 21, it's sorry, this is on page 4.
Which one is that on, Sarah?
29. Well, I think this is page.
On what
That
page?
one. It's an MV report and it's 21,150.
Sarah, can you speak up a bit?
Oh, sorry.
Mine.
It's,
Yeah, my ears are plugged.
It's on page 4 of 29, of warrant 29, and it's MV report.
Motor vehicle
Oh,
report.
okay.
Anything else? No? All those in favor? Great. Moving on to select board items. Anybody have any select board items?
A quick follow-up. Scott Sunderland gave his report at the last meeting. He was going to check on the snow sidewalk, snow plow. Do we have any more information about the repair? It's going to work out or anything?
No, we talked this afternoon briefly before they quit for the day. We don't have any new information on that. He was going to see if it could be used as a trade-in, but they just take so long to get back.
Thank you.
I have a question. pertaining to flooding. The substation, is it on town property or does CMP own that property? And when they built that substation, did they not have to go in front of the planning board?
Great question.
I don't know that answer. I would have to.
No, I
ask.
know nobody here knows that, but I mean, this is just like a question
Yeah.
Yeah,
that, how did that happen? That they,
Probably predated,
I would say that our flood
but
plan.
it's still a flood zone.
so,
it predated all of that, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah, just that's, I mean,
It won't-
how long has power?
Predated being a flood zone?
Well, any floodplain management rules or regulations being adopted by the town, I know it predated that, for sure. And
I mean, it's the second time since I've
Hard
been
to buy
here
anybody.
that it's happened because of a flood,
No,
that we've lost power.
It's gone under. But in conversations with the supervisor when I was talking to them, they did say that one of the things that CMP is looking at is ways to raise it.
Well, thank you.
Well, didn't they purchase a property to put a new substation on somewhere? I feel like I remember
I
hearing
don't
that.
know. Good questions to ask.
Yeah.
It's all hearsay, but I've been told that they own the lot next door
That's what I thought too.
that has been built up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that personally.
I have heard that gossip too.
Okay.
And I mean,
It just blows my mind.
That,
A substation is sitting in the flood.
yeah. I mean,
like you said, it predates a lot of things. I mean, the electrical lines, I mean, it makes sense according to the electrical grid and the lines and everything comes here, but which kind of predates where it's sitting, so now we have up-to-date information. So,
I would say to piggyback off of what Pat's talking about, I think I would be interested, and I know this might be after time, but something about connecting with the Army Corps engineers and potentially figuring out and updating our flood plan and kind of getting a little help with infrastructure. I think that would be worth our time. I don't really ever want Toby to go through what he went through on the 18th and the 20th ever again.
I appreciate that. It happens, it happens.
I know. I tell you, when that storm started happening, like, Toby's the only person I did. I was like, are you okay? He's like, yes.
Just put it in your budget to have wetsuits, that's all.
Scuba gear.
So it does actually, talking about the wastewater treatment facility, it brings me back to the Mill Hill Pump Station. Maybe we can get an update at another meeting on that, because I know it's been, what, 10 months, 9 months or something since.
Actually, I did not bring that update to you tonight because I got it this week. All of the plans and everything are ready. They've sent it to
Nice.
Toby and I by email. And we have it on the calendar when there's going to be a pre-bid meeting here at the town office. And there's going to be, the bid opening is here at the town office. And I will get you those dates.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to put that on this report, but yes, we got all that information.
That's
this
great
week.
news.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Everything's
Thank
been,
It's, pre-bid is January 31st at 11,
you.
and then the bid is February 20th at 11.
did I give you the date for when the bids are actually going out to put on the calendar?
No, we just had the
Okay.
pre-bid meeting on the 31st and the bid opening on the 20th.
Do you remember what date that notice that they were sending the bids out?
The 18th.
The 18th, they're sending the bids?
In January?
Yes, the citizen is going to
that's
get.
tomorrow.
I was like, yeah.
You must have gotten,
Thanks, Jim.
it's supposed to be in the
I can look
citizen.
right now.
I think it's gonna be in the Citizen tomorrow,
I
and
think I
then,
did see that.
and then all of the major constructions, advertising places will get that bid as well.
That sounds great, so.
And that's just for Mill Hill Pump Station?
Yeah, they have to advertise in a local paper, which is The Citizen, and then they have several construction issues that they advertise in.
Great.
And I did get that this week, but I didn't get it
You
too. so-
forgive me.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But that's
It's
great,
been busy since.
great news.
Yeah, that's really great news. And then the last thing, I already kind of spoke with Sharon about this briefly, but the Ethel Bisbee Committee is working on that document to be able to score potential proposals for any projects that may end up at the Ethel Bisbee lot. How would we like to proceed? Should we give them a deadline? Do we want to
When
have
when
a
is their
hearing?
deadline for,
For so
committee.
the full committee, I believe, is supposed to end for a year, so a full year. So when did they start? The first meeting in July? Or less than that?
It was,
March?
no.
I thought it was June. I think it was June,
Yeah, it was.
late June,
I have to look
or
at
early
that.
June. I can't remember.
Oh, maybe.
So, but it was 1 year from then, so I would think, basically, town meeting to town meeting, what's the general?
and you want to give them a deadline for what?
To have a document to share with us, like a presentation, and then also, it is a tool for the select board to use, so we can obviously edit it as we want. But should we, out of an abundance of transparency, have a public hearing regarding that document? And I don't think it's necessary for it to be on annual town warrant personally. I don't know how you guys feel about it, if we were to use that tool.
Just I'd have to see it first.
So it's, the document will be the tool.
It's just a
will be
tool.
It's their
how we
proposal.
like to score.
It's, they're proposing basically a tool on how to evaluate potential uses for that site. And it's supposed to take into consideration like cost of the town, return on investment, all that kind of stuff. So before any of that, it would have to come to us and we could tweak it so that, you know, it made sense. We could look at the code, we could think about like our priorities and make sure that it's, you know, neutral and not biased, as neutral as it could possibly be. But again, like, since it's such a hot button, it's just something to think about. We don't
So
have to make any
then, so that's
decision.
going out to the general public to,
So that's the question, right? So it is a tool that we would use, so I don't think
we here,
would use to evaluate. So basically the process would be, like if we said, hey, we'd like to get some RFPs on, or bids on what goes up there, and we got a whole bunch of options. It was just a neutral way for us to evaluate those options, but no matter what came of it, like the product of that decision, that would still have to go through public hearing,
Right,
and
right,
like,
right.
that's all
okay.
always gonna happen, but it's just a tool to try to make it as transparent and as neutral as possible. Because, I mean, without doubt, the five of us up here are always gonna have our own opinions and bias on the situation. So the more we can like neutralize that, so we're not giving the appearance of being.
Being biased.
Yeah, being biased, yeah.
So we will use that as a tool to decide
To grade, basically grade
or
proposals.
to come up with a proposal as to what we will present to the public to vote on.
Well, we
No.
wouldn't necessarily come up
You-
with a proposal.
we
would
could,
be
We could, but
right.
then we would just put it through the same matrix,
Right.
you know, and we're just like, this is why we're evaluating. This is why we choose this thing to move to the next step, which is public hearing and vote. You know what I mean?
Right, the final vote is, I understand
Oh,
it
it's
is the citizens, but who makes the decision as to what to present to the citizens, is what I'm saying.
We do, that's our job.
Using,
That's right,
using
that's what I'm
the,
saying.
using that.
Using the matrix.
Using the
Using
matrix.
So basically,
It's just a tool.
if we turned around and said, here's the lot. 5 different people can come up with 5 different things and say, this is what we think it should be. That gets plugged, each of those gets plugged into the matrix that evaluates and scores it so that it's a neutral decision on
Right, no, I
what could
understand the
go
process.
to the- what
I
could go
understand that
there.
part of the process, I just wanna make sure the rest of, I understand the rest of the process, okay.
So
Yeah,
the-
sure.
I would recommend that they present it to this board because you appointed them as an ad
Yeah.
hoc committee. The first step should be they should present it to
Right.
you. Then you will take whatever time you need to review it, then bring it back to the board at some point, and then you can discuss it. But it should be presented to you for your review and then discussion at a future select board meeting.
Right.
That is how I
So
would
that's,
recommend.
that's the deadline that I'm speaking about is, and we don't need to decide this right now, we can follow up at the next meeting, but we need to start thinking about how, like, when we want that presentation.
So they also collected a lot of thoughts from community members about what they think should be, how it should be. So how will they give us that information too? Will they, I think they're working on distilling it down to sort of
Yeah.
major. So will that be, because that's not the tool, that's just like information.
That's how they created the tool.
Yeah.
I would expect when they do the presentation, that will be a part of it.
Because it would be nice to, if they can, to give us like big ideas that have been, like common themes that
Yeah.
came from the whole community.
Or the data that they,
Yeah, the
the
data,
data
yeah.
that they collected to come up with the tool.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Because then we might
It's a lot
simplify
of
that in a
That's,
different way.
that's
Yeah.
actually all in the full-blown spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So that,
It's there.
But it's lots of like, I mean, I think the last time I looked at it, it was just a lot of like, like.
It can be
big-
confusing.
So if it can get distilled
I feel
down,
like
I think
Faye
that would-
was working on
Yeah,
like a
she's-
more distilled version of kind of what people's ideas were. So I believe that will absolutely be part of the process. And I mean, that's the point, right? Because
Right.
they're creating the tool, but they also have bias too. So we need to check and balance each other.
Right.
And I would suggest that as soon as they're ready, they
Yeah.
have it complete, then they should call here and say it's complete, and then I can get them scheduled on an agenda.
Okay.
Because I haven't heard from them.
Okay.
that's what I was
The
gonna
first
say
meeting-
too, is,
Let it be on the.
is, right, I mean, their charge was, right, to come up with a tool. I wasn't on the board at the time, so I'm
No,
assuming
that's
that's
it.
what their charge was,
Yeah.
was to come up with a tool that could be used, a rubric that projects or ideas could be rated against, and they had a year to do it. So I guess it's kind of up to them. Are they
To
going to
say-
be able to complete it in a year, shorter than a year? Do they need more time?
So
Yes.
their schedule is April 2nd on their latest schedule.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to
The
get. in.
April 19th was our
That's good.
first meeting. So that's kind of puts that at that, because that actually was when it was put together, that's
April
what,
1st,
meeting.
which is, well, that's a month ahead.
That-
Are you on that committee, Jim?
He's on every committee.
well, we just sit there and
So
Yeah.
just have the committee, whoever the chair is, let us know when they're ready to present it, and then we can
Okay.
schedule them on the next select board meeting once
And-
they're
And
ready.
since it doesn't have to be on the warrant, we don't have to squeeze it into this crazy schedule.
Well,
We
no,
can
it would not have to be,
We can
because it's.
not do that.
There's nothing to be voted on at town meeting
Right.
at this point. So,
Yeah, and I feel like people get kind of like town meeting fatigue. People, I'm people. Okay, so the last item.
Can I do one thing?
Of course you can.
Could we, I know last time we voted on committee members, could we formalize that process? I mean, I sent out something like a rough draft of an idea of a form and then steps we could take for choosing committee members, but is that something we could work up towards before we do it again? Just because I think it would be nice to invite them, like I found that very helpful, that Ross was here to talk and like why he wanted to do it. But I also, like Michelle brought up, like, can they commit to certain day times? And
Yeah.
that was something I added to the form, was like, do you know the days that this committee meets and would you be able to commit? Because I know I found that as a problem on Conservation Commission. It's like nobody's, you know, it's hard to get commitment to meet. And so I feel like if it's part of the form, like, this is when they meet, because you made that.
So having a different form per committee.
It's not that, it wasn't that much, no, it wasn't, I think I sent you all like a.
No, I
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
I think it could be used for all of them, but it was just slightly more specific, like, I can't remember, I haven't looked at it in a few weeks, but is it something we could work towards doing so that we have a really specific set of steps to follow when we choose committee members?
You want
And
different application.
Slightly different, yeah, and that we invite them.
I think she wants a process.
Well,
clear
application's
process.
slightly different, a little more specific, because I just feel like a lot of people say, I want to serve my town, which is great, but it doesn't necessarily help me know which person may be better.
Yeah, especially if they don't show up.
Can you
Right,
supply that,
right.
can you supply that, your form to us next meeting?
Sure.
Because I know it's in my the other town email address, and I don't know if I can get it in there anymore.
Yeah, so I could just
Okay.
print it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could just.
Or should I give it to you earlier and then it can be?
I think if you give it to Sharon, she can decide which agenda it could fit on.
Yeah, it's not a huge rush at all, but I just thought, while it was fresh in my
I think it's reasonable to
And
have.
I think I mentioned before too that when in other places, anyone who is petitioning to be on any committee, they're asked to come to the meeting that they're going to be appointed at, in case there are questions that have to be asked by the select board.
I think that would be
Good idea.
a good directive.
And definitely let them know if they're going
Come on, you
for,
show up, you're on.
they're going for whatever, these are the dates
Yeah,
and times that it meets.
yep.
That would help.
Or when they sign up, let them know to look on the, online, and you can, or when they ask for an application, please be aware of what the different committees do and when they meet.
Well, Jessica, you made that nice list of
Yes, you
all the
did.
and it says what days they meet, so that could just be on the backside of.
It could be on the backside.
You know,
That would
stapled
be
to
real
the
good.
Mm-hmm.
applications.
Yeah.
And also, it's part of the posting, as we're getting a little better at it for the community, is there's descriptions of each of the committees, and it could say traditionally meets first and second Wednesday. That was a very good list.
Yeah.
And then I would ask if you could take it a step further and now put those meeting dates on the calendar. I know it's buried
Yeah.
buried on the website, but
Yeah, not all of them are on yet, I will try to do that and see if we can
that,
better link to that.
okay, thank you. And as the committees are reorganizing themselves this time of year, maybe a communication can be directly back to you as to, who's the chair, who is some of the boards appoint a representative to some of the committees, as they communicate back to you. That would be great to.
And it would be great to have short committee reports, like, I don't know, however many committees, maybe they just rotate through and just, or is the idea only if there's a.
No, that's why that got put on there, because I wanted that to
Yeah.
happen, but then it just.
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, for me, I mean, I've been trying to go to a couple of the committee meetings, but it would be helpful.
Yeah, no, I like the same thing. I'm always like, what's going on?
Tuesday, and you can work on LD.
So it's always a good thing too to have committees after they do their minutes, then they are sent to the town clerk.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if that happens here.
Right now, the only ones, of course, Courtney with her committee, she does it right on the website, 'cause she has access. So she takes care of those. I do this committee, Nate Crooker has been, and for the last 3 meetings, they've had gotten me the minutes. But at this point, that's the only official that I'm getting. I know you guys keep minutes, but I haven't
We
received
try.
those.
We're loose. We try.
What, Dorothy?
If we're not loose, we're not having fun, and then we're not getting stuff done.
We have fun. Oops, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up one more thing. I know it was brought up before, and I just want to question it again as far as the applications for the liquor license applications and entertainment applications, they're being posted on the website? Is that
The
correct?
application themselves?
Yes.
No, the entertainment, I'll check and see if that is, because that's a town application. The liquor license applications are a state one, and they're on the state site.
No. What I'm saying is when you do the minutes, when you do the agendas,
Yes,
are those applications on the website?
yes.
And that I thought was brought up before, that it doesn't seem like it's really a good thing to do by putting all that personal information on the website like that.
We don't do it. Not all towns do it, post all that information.
You as an Oxford?
Some towns do, I suppose, some towns don't. Here, I've just followed the practice that you've been putting it, including it, like, you get it in your packet.
It has a lot of personal information on it that people probably really
Yeah.
don't appreciate.
The board members get all of the information, but
Never really
does
thought
it
about that.
really need to be
But it's been brought
online?
up before, it was
Yeah.
brought up last year.
We did discuss that, but it was
Yeah,
not.
and
Yeah.
Jess and I did talk about it too. I don't
Do we
think,
have to, as a board, vote on something like that?
No, that's a policy.
no, I don't think it needs to be there. If somebody wants to see it, they can see it with the redacted information, because we did talk about redacting some of the information that is personal.
If you black it out or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
But all of that,
Could you just put a
The
simple
stuff
statement
that-
saying, if you are interested in seeing the application for this business, please
FOIA
contact the
us.
office or something.
Well, if you just post the agenda,
Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody can ask,
yeah.
what's in the packet?
Yeah.
So that's just a standard practice, but if you just post the agenda,
It gives out addresses, it gives out dates of birth, it gives out income, that's a lot.
Look at the income.
Well,
It
it
is-
gives, it
but it
gives the
does
number,
number,
it gives the
yeah,
gross
social
sales,
it
yeah.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is,
No, that's fair.
it is public information,
so
but.
we will just
Some people can
post
ask for it.
the
It is public
agenda,
information,
and
but
then somebody wouldn't need to ask, submit a FOIA for that anyway, if they want to see it.
Yeah.
Right. But you have it in your packet, and
Yeah.
we have it in our meetings, in our
Oh,
packet,
yeah.
but it's not posted on.
Right, that was it, the
That's
whole thing.
fair,
was it
yeah.
That's
public?
how it used to be, but I think when they went to a different platform with the agenda and the website,
That's why
it changed a little
got
bit,
posted.
yeah.
I think in the land of like cybersecurity, it's probably best to
Mhm.
not, to not do that.
I wouldn't want that
Yeah,
stuff
that's
out there.
fair.
That's
I've
true.
never
I
even
can think,
considered that,
No,
but
I would
you're
not.
so right.
Yeah, we're just one layer, because the state has it too.
Yeah.
We're just one piece in their process.
Yeah.
But like for the assessors meeting, there is the military information that we have for
Oh, yeah, it should be.
their exemption,
Yeah.
and that we just, it gets destroyed after we review it.
The easy thing is just the part that goes up on the website, just block that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mark it.
All right, now we are going to,
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
here you go.
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor, or any discussion?
Just as the statement.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Motion to enter into executive session pursuant
To
to.
discuss the code enforcement officer position.
All those in favor? Let's do it. The time is 7:39.
Sharon, you'll be on the page.
They're all off.
I just looked it up.
It's definitely there, it's big, too.
Thank you for doing it.
Hey Toby,
I wanna,
can I take your notes or ask you just if you, since I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to,
What do you want to say?
pop.
I'm afraid I'm not gonna hear anything on that.